Here's a Line 6 Helix preset, and it's let's call it Eric Clapton Bluesbreaker-ish style preset. So yes, it's modeled after the guitar tone Eric Clapton had on the, I believe it's a 1965 John Mayall and the Bluesbreakers album, where he used 1960 Les Paul and a Marshall Bluesbreaker amp. I think it was like a 61 or 62. Let's take a little look at it. Let's listen to it. Here it is. All right, why don't we have a quick look? It's very quick, very simple, not a lot of blocks, easy. And as always, in the description box, there's a link where you can download this preset for free in the custom tone area on the Line 6 website. So take it, make it your own, tweak it to how you hear it. Let's check out the editor here. All right, so left to right, I didn't even put the input gate on for this because it's not too noisy. Like, we're not using any high gain drives where it's all amp drive. So, I mean, you could put it on. You know what? I'm going to put it on right now. Why not? And I'm going to save that. It's just, it's a nice habit to have, and just in case some noise happens, but there really wasn't any noise. So I just randomly slapped on some blocks. So I started with the amp. Now, the best we can get here is a Brit J45, amp model here, and I believe that is kind of what the Bluesbreaker is based on, like, kind of like I think it was like a Fender Bassman circuit that Marshall modified, get that Marshall sound. So anyways, that's the amp that we're using, and you can see here the drive is up, the master volume's up, because apparently I think Clapton cranked it in the studio. I'm not saying he dimed everything, but definitely had the volume up and the gain up, and at the other end of the studio, mic'd it to get those juicy, beefy lead tones on that, the Beano album, as they call it. So, and I have the mid treble presence up quite a bit, bass down a little bit. So I just kind of slid these parameters to where it sounded in the ballpark, because it's never going to be the same. I'm not going to get the exact tone from the album because I'm not Eric Clapton. I don't have his hands. I don't have the gear. All right, and the way it was recorded. Okay, so you have to keep those things in mind. So this is ballpark, but I think it's pretty good, pretty close. I did put an EQ after the amp just because I liked a little around the 500 or so hertz mark. I like to up that a little bit, and then I did up the high gain and the low gain just a smidge. So I'm just using the simple EQ again, just to kind of tone shape to what I think that guitar tone sounds like. Now the cabinet. Now I believe, from what I've read, it is I forget the model, but Celestia's like GM12 or something like that. So there was a couple of options. I could have used the 212 matchless greenback cabinet, which I did use at first, but then I decided to go with a dual cab setting here and use the 112 open cream, because these are also I think in the ballpark of the GM speakers, or whatever models was used for that Bluesbreaker amp. So I did put different mics on one. So this was the default mic, is a 906 dynamic. So I just moved it back a little bit, just not too much editing here. And then on the second one, I decided to put a 57, so no panning or anything. And a couple of verbs, right, to try and get that Beano album reverb sound. So I'm using a 63 spring, not high in the mix, And you can see all the settings here. And I'm also using room. Okay, and again, not well, that's a little higher in the mix. So it's kind of trying to blend the two verbs, trying to get that album sound. That's the preset. I'm going to play it here because you heard it in like a band recording mix context. Let's hear it on its own. Okay. So there you have it. And I think this sounds best maybe using the bridge pickup. I think that's the closest. That is my take on that Eric Clapton, that wonderful, delicious tone that he got on that just 19, I believe it was, like I said, 1965, John Mayall and the Bluesbreakers album. If you have not listened to that album, I encourage you to check it out. It is great. I think for me, it's some of Clapton's best playing. And mind you, I think he was 19 or 20 when he did it. So it was just reckless abandon, that youthful, experimental enthusiasm. And it sounded great. Like, what a great tone and great licks. So I can't say enough about it. Definitely a must listen for any aspiring blues guitarist, in my opinion. Much listening out there for sure, required listening to for the blues. But I think that record for British blues is definitely a pinnacle and great guitar tone. So again, this is my ballpark preset for it, and I call it EC Bluesbreaker. Link below in the description box. Download for free. Play with it. Enjoy it. If you like the video, feel free to hit the like button, drop a comment, and in the meantime, take a look at this video.